Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid from the Agents of Sabotage DLC in GTA Online. This is not a regular what to buy and what to avoid this week in GTA Online video. This is just going to be specifically talking about what we got with the Agents of Sabotage DLC today in GTA Online, and I will make a regular what to buy and what to avoid this week video a little bit later in the week. But anyway, starting off with the car behind me, of course we have the brand new Bravado Banshee GTS, probably the best car from the DLC. I think this thing is really awesome. I think the customization's great. I think it's at a very fair price point of less than $2 million, honestly. I think it's a really good car. Honestly, customization's sweet. It looks great. I mean, drives pretty nicely too and all that. So really no complaints about the GTS, but we will touch on this thing a little bit more later when we actually go to the websites here. But we got a lot to talk about with this update. So starting us off under the featured section here, or also under the two-door section if you want, we have the Banshee GTS and we have the Dinka Jester RR Widebody. And I'm going to get something out of the way straight off of the bat. The Dinka Jester RR Widebody is the worst vehicle that has been added into GTA Online since the police riot with the Chop Shop DLC, I do believe it was. This thing is beyond a scam. $2,290,000, which is more than the regular Dinka Jester RR, for a wide body kit on a Dinka Jester RR with absolutely nothing that you can do to the vehicle. The only thing I can say about this thing is do not ever buy it. Do not consider buying it. There is no reason to buy the Dinka Jester RR Widebody. This thing completely sucks. I was beyond disappointed when I was customizing it. When I found out that there was nothing you could do to it, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I ended up taking it to the car meet to go and see if there were like hidden customization options. No, there's nothing. There's nothing you can do to this car. What you see in the picture, other than changing the color that you see right here, there is absolutely nothing that can be done to this vehicle, which is egregious. For $2.3 million, it is a complete scam. Do not buy a Dinka Jester RR Widebody. Even with its redeemable feature of having a missile lock-on jammer, it is not worth buying. The only thing different between this and the regular RR, of course, the widebody kit, the no customization, and the engine sound. The engine sound is slightly different, slightly better maybe you could say, or maybe slightly worse depending on what you like, but it's not really awesome. It actually, sorry, scratch that, it sucks. Do not buy a Jester RR Widebody. Avoid it like the plague. Banshee GTS for less than $2 million. That was not on my bingo card, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this thing was gonna be like $2.7 million, but for this price, this thing is a steal. Now, from what I've heard, it is HSW capable, so if you have HSW on your platform, you can put it on this vehicle. It also does have the missile lock-on jammer as well, and with HSW, I've heard it is extremely fast. I've heard it rivals the Stinger TT, as well as the Niobe in terms of top speed, but it definitely has much better handling than the Stinger TT, which is awesome. The GTS is a fantastic car, and I do think you should honestly buy one. I really do think it's an awesome car. Like I said, customization's great. It feels awesome to drive, and if you can get HSW for it, that is an added bonus for sure. So I would definitely pick up a Banshee GTS. Heading over to Warstock Cash and Carry, we have 3 new vehicles. One of them is the Police Predator, which is the boat that we got for completing the heist challenge, which was $20 trillion in like a month, I think it was. Something very similar to that at least. The Police Predator is free as a result of this. You should get it because it's free. However, if at any point it becomes not free and becomes the full price, please, for the love of God, do not buy it. The list of features for this boat is the light on the top of it turns on, and that's it. There's nothing else. That's the only feature this boat has, is that light right there turns on. There's no siren, there's no lights. There is a police horn, I guess, so that could be a second feature potentially, but other than that, it's a boat. It floats. That's about it. If you were going to have to buy this thing, I would absolutely avoid it. I'm really glad that it is free, at least for the time being. I don't know if it's going to go back to being, priced at some point or what, but for free, you might as well have it. There's no point in not getting it. Next up, of course, we have the Vapid Cara Pursuit and the Terminus Patrol. Both of these vehicles are really, really awesome. They have quite a bit of police style customization, which is really cool. And of course, you do get dispatch work with both of them, and this one does come with the missile lock-on jammer, which is pretty cool. Now granted, these things are super overpriced, so if you're not balling out of control in GTA, if you're kind of maybe a lower level, you don't have all the businesses, you don't have all the vehicles that you need, like Night Shark, you know, having an F-160 Raju, having an FH-1 Hunter, and a Kula for a helicopter. Like, if you don't have the basics, I would absolutely advise you to not buy the Caracara Pursuit or the Terminus Patrol. However, if you are able to afford these vehicles, I think they're really fun. I really do think they're fun. They're definitely the best two off-road style police vehicles we have in the game. They blow the Bravado Dorado cruiser out of the water. It's not even close. The Caracara is awesome. It's got some unique customization as well, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, I like the Caracara Pursuit quite a bit. If you can get it for the trade price, I would definitely advise you to try to do that. I think that that is very much so worth it. The buy it now price, not so much. Over 5 mil is kind of insane for this, in my opinion. Now, the Terminus is a little bit more worth it than the Caracara for its insane price because it is slightly cheaper, albeit, but it also does have dispatch work available as well as the missile lock-on jammer, but it does have Imani Tech armor plating as well. So not only can it not be locked onto, but it does actually have some armor in case a missile does get through and actually hit you. Beyond that, the customization is similar, if not maybe a little tiny bit worse than the regular Terminus, but it is really nice that it does have that armor plating option for it, and it is a little cheaper than the Caracara. So if you're only going to buy one of the two, I would say make it the Terminus because I think you get a little more utility out of it. But overall, both of them are roughly the same level of like uselessness, but they're also relatively the same factor of cool. I would say the Caracara is a cooler vehicle than the Terminus, especially in a police variant, but the Terminus does have its perks with that armor plating. So if you want one of the two, definitely consider the armor plating versus the slightly cooler look of the Caracara Pursuit before you make your purchase, if you're only going to buy one of them, that is, of course. On Southern San Andreas Super Autos, we have the new, it says Karen Shavos V6, but this is actually a Dinka, and the logos on the vehicle are Dinka, and when you take it into Los Santos Customs, it actually calls it the Dinka Shavos V6, and it is based off of the Honda Accord, specifically the 2014 to I believe the 2019 model years of that car. It does have quite a bit of customization, but for $1,420,000, it is quite egregious for that price. I don't think it's that awesome of a vehicle. Of course, you do get the missile lock-on jammer with it, which is pretty cool, I must say. But for $1,420,000 to get a car that probably very narrowly beats or is like kind of close in performance to the $116,000 Benefactor Shafter V12 in the sedans category, like, it's pretty hard to justify like a 14 times price increase for basically nothing in the way of performance. Now, granted, this does handle a lot better than the Benefactor Shafter V12, so that is something to consider. And I do think it looks pretty good, and the customization is nice. But I would say if you really want this car, I would say you should probably wait till it goes on sale, because this price is just way too much, in my opinion. Okay, and on the Mazebank Foreclosures website, we have the Garment Factory, which is available for $2,350,000. Now, I do have it already, so that's why you're not seeing a price tag associated with it. But it does grant you access to the new modifications that are available for the Terabyte. It also has a passive income safe that is included within it, and I do believe that that generates $1,600, $1,600. Say that again just to make sure I'm clear, every 48 minutes of in-game time. At least that's what I've gotten so far. So that figure might change. If I do have some sort of an update for you, I will post a pinned comment on the video, so check that out. But as far as I know, it is $1,600 per 48 minutes or in-game day in GTA Online. Now, you also do get a 10-car garage included in the purchase of this, and you do get the ability to teleport or fast travel to a few different locations around the city. So anyway, we're going to head over here because we got to talk about the Terabyte anyways, and we're going to get a little more in depth on the business as well. All right, so within the Garment factory here. We'll go ahead and hop upstairs to start things off. This is the legitimate area of the garment factory, and there's absolutely nothing going on here that you need to be concerned about. But this is where you will find the safe inside of the garment factory, and I'm going to turn my HUD on here just so you can see how much money I actually get out of the safe. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open this, and it says $1,540 right now. So I think it's around $1,600 per 48 minutes. That's what it seems like, and I'm assuming it's not making very much because the legitimate aspect of this business is definitely the secondary sort of purpose of it, I guess. And I mean, there's only 4 people working in here, so I mean, it's not like you're going to be making like hella money with this anyway, so I guess it kind of makes sense. It is a nice tiny little incentive to buy the business, but you're going to be waiting a while to pay it off if you're planning on just using the safe. But of course, there are more ways to earn money with this business as well that we're going to look at on the computer. But we also do have a Mark II weapon workshop in here, which is pretty nice. And of course, over here, we have the Terabyte and the Bureau Tech modifications that can be installed on the Terabyte are available exclusively through the garment factory. So I'm going to show you guys this. We can go ahead and modify the Terabyte here and go into the Bureau Tech option here. We got the collectible scanner, we have the silent running module, the missile lock-on jammer, and of course the master control terminal. All of those things are available for it. If you want to know more about it, I'll put the video thumbnail on screen right here. And I will also include a link in the description down below to a more in-depth video on what these things do. Basically, what you need to know is the collectible scanner is a scam. You don't need to buy it. Silent running also completely sucks, and I would not advise buying it. However, the missile lock-on jammer and the master control terminal are both pretty worth buying. The master control terminal is more worth buying if you don't have one already in the arcade. But even if you do, I still do think it's going to be slightly more useful to have it in the Terabyte than it is in the arcade. So if you got the extra money, you may want to consider spending it on the master control terminal. But anyways, that is what is available for the Terabyte there. And then I will show you guys, if we run over here, you can get access to the basement garage, which is pretty cool. So in here we have a 10-car garage, which is pretty sweet. And then we also do have the ability to fast travel by walking up to this door right here in particular. So as you can see, these are the locations that it will teleport you to. You can see where I am marked in the lower right-hand corner of the expanded radar there. And this is where it will send me to, is where the arrow in the middle of the expanded radar is pointing. You can also go to the Del Perro station, which is right there. The La Mesa subway, which is just across the sewer from me right now. You can also go down to the airport parking station or the Tata Viam truck stop. So this is kind of useful. You can get around the map, you know, relatively quickly using this. It'd be nice if there were some areas that you could get that were a little bit more north on the map, because I feel like that's what this would really be useful for, but it's better than nothing, I do suppose. So that is another added bonus of this business, which is something to be considered for sure, I do suppose. And then of course we do have the computer, which is right here, which we can sit down at. You can also access the same thing on your cell phone, which is pretty cool as well once you've actually set the business up. And you can see these are the contracts that we have access to right now. Now there's one priority file that you will get every single week, and that will pay you $316,000 for completing it, or roughly double the price of some of the other missions that are available in any given week. And this will rotate weekly, so it will not always be the brute force file. It will be maybe the black box file next week, and then the week after that it might be the fine art file, and then it might be the breakaway file, whatever it is. This is only able to be done once per week. However, these ones, I do think you can do them multiple times. Now there is a slight setup cost involved with them as well, which is something to be considered, but that is a thing. So this is the kind of money you can expect to earn with the garment factory business. And then of course on top of that, the passive income safe, which granted does not pay very much money. But that's something you can check every, now and then, and just generate you some extra cash, I guess. So the real question is, should you buy the garment factory, I do suppose, right? And the garment factory gives you access to some pretty good stuff, I would say, like the Terabyte modifications, the master control terminal specifically, and the missile lock-on jammer that you can put on the Terabyte, I think are useful useful upgrades, depending on how much you plan to use your terabyte, if you even have one in the first place. If you don't have a terabyte, I would say you should not buy the Garment Factory yet. I think you should definitely get a terabyte first, and then you might want to make that decision. The Garment Factory paying about $1,600 every 48 minutes does not sound like a lot of money, and it really is not a lot of money, but depending on how much you play GTA Online, it could potentially pay off your Garment Factory at some point. Now, granted, that will take a very long time, which is of course where those contracts do come in. Now, if you do complete even that priority file every single week, and then you also get the passive income associated with the Garment Factory, you could potentially actually make some good money with this business. And even then, if you just want to incorporate the passive income from the Garment Factory with the passive income from the arcade, the agency, and the nightclub, as well as the chop shop, you could actually make quite a bit of money pretty passively in GTA Online. The thing that I like about the Garment Factory is seemingly you do not have to do a singular thing to earn that passive money in the safe, which is pretty cool. Kind of adds to the agency where once you've done your security contracts, you're just done. You just get paid. That's it. Same with the arcade. You just get paid. That's it. And I do kind of like that aspect of it. So for $2,350,000, do I think the Garment Factory is worth it? I do think it's worth it. I would maybe consider waiting for it to go on sale if you think you can live without the missile lock-on jammer on your terabyte, as well as the master control terminal in there, and without the $1,600 that you get every single in-game day. However, I will say the longer you wait to buy the Garment Factory, the less likely it is that you'll ever pay it off using the passive income safe to help you, obviously. So that is something to be considered. But that's pretty much it with what to buy and what to avoid from the Agents of Sabotage DLC, at least on day one. Again, I will have a what to buy and what to avoid this week in GTA Online video coming out a little bit later in the week to talk about some of the discounts that are going on this week, like on the overflawed Pipistrello, for example, as well as some of the other discounted vehicles and bonus money activities going on this week in GTA. But anyway, guys, that's been it for what to buy and what to avoid from the Agents of Sabotage DLC. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Do consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.